Hello, spring. Hi, I'm Lori. Welcome back to Milkweeds and Roses Gardener. Well, this is a positive sign. We're going in the right direction when it comes to spring. And I've been walking my garden the minute the sun broke and looking for signs of spring. I don't know about you, but there are some exciting developments. Let's take a look together. Here we go. So we're beginning here in my rose garden on the south end of the house. And this time of year, it does get sun, but not till later in the day. It's mid-morning right now. But this is exciting. Take a look at this. I do have some tulips coming up. Nice little cluster of tulips coming up. And these are some, as I believe, possible alliums. I don't know. I'll have to take a look. Now I leave a lot of the leaf litter in here for beneficial insects. They're still wintering. So even though the temperature during the day is definitely going in the right direction, the soil temperature is cold enough that only the earliest of spring blooms like daffodils and tulips and snowdrops would be coming out right now. So because a lot of the beneficial insects are still slumbering, I let them stay safe under the leaf litter and organic material here. So I won't clean this up till probably the end of April, honestly. Okay, and the roses still dormant, but I keep these inspected to see if there's any signs of broken stems or critters have been gnawing on them. So far so good. Now I have some, looks like some things over here that someone has tried to tunnel into a little bit to take a look at some bulbs possibly. Remember I planted some daffodils? I believe these are daffodils in here, starting to break through the soil. I could probably remove my pots that I've wintered over here, move them off. I didn't plant anything underneath them, but I want to make sure I'm not blocking anything from the light. So I will move these off to the ledge here, and this too. Ugh, it's like a heavy bowling ball. Leave those there. So like I said, most of my perennials are still slumbering. So even though we might get 50s or 60s during the day, the majority of the day is spent getting, 20s, 30s, and the larger part of the evening, which we're talking 8-10 hours, is at freezing or slightly below freezing. So that's what makes the soil temperature still pretty cold. Now we do have some early signs of things coming up. I can see the little swollen buds of the rose. It's still dormant, of course. And see the little red buds where leaves will come out. Now there'll be some winter dieback, of course, here at the very end, but I'm not going to bother trimming that just yet. And take a look at this one. Can you see this tiny little tiny bud still? So doing pretty well. And take a look at this. Can you see this? If I can get my shadow out of the way. So I think that's Viking Queen, who truly is, as the Vikings are, pretty hardy. So I leave my sweet autumn clematis, which is the type 3 clematis. I keep that up in place here through the winter for beneficial insects. I'll take that down, I'll trim it down appropriately about the middle of April. So I want to make sure those beneficial insects can make it on their own first. And then, most of this material will come down to about maybe a couple feet off the ground. new dawn rose. Still dormant, of course, but I see a lot of green stem here, which is great. That's great. Same thing with the new rose that I planted last year. Also doing pretty well. Now this was my experiment this year. This was a lilac that I don't know, you can see, look at this. There's been a squirrel digging down in there, probably burying a nut. So I'm gonna have to get in there and see what might be buried, because again, burying a walnut in here can make the entire pot toxic, especially as she's trying to wake up. Now I do see some, hopefully some buds, dormant buds. And I'm hoping, scratch on this. Yes, can you see? She's alive. Do you see the green? Green under that stem. So she made it through the winter. That's great. In this plant, which was just an annual, I wound it around to help protect it through the winter. And I'll move those pots off, but again, it's still super cold. The ground's really cold right now. Everything else here, pretty dormant, still dormant. A couple of hydrangeas, still dormant. But wait, what's this? Motivation for spring. Aren't they beautiful? Snowdrops. Little clump of snowdrops just starting to appear. Everything else is pretty dormant, as it should be right now. But still, just to see the first glimmer of spring, of things coming back, is so exciting. And there's some more. Nice. So little aconites and snowdrops, hyacinth. And look at this, the very beginning of sedum, I believe. Those look like familiar little rosettes, the little rosettes of sedum. I think so. Nice. Oh, and take a look at this. Some geranium, Ingwertson's variety. So they just kind of wintered over pretty well. I see little glimpses of life starting out. And look at this. Just starting. I'm not going to remove the foliage right now because that's helping to protect it on these cold nights, and we have many more yet to come. It's still the middle of March. Some green stem on my rose with some buds. Look at those. Now I do have some foxtail lily planted over here, and nothing eats them. Here's some more. That might be what they are coming up. Isn't that exciting? Just signs of life emerging. Let's keep them safe. There we go. All right, you stay warm there, boys. A little early yet. I bet they'll grow a lot in this next couple of weeks. It's supposed to get really warm. Now, all winter long I saw squirrels digging in here, so I'm not an optimist that, and I found a couple of bulbs displaced. So If anything comes up here, I'll be happy. Here's a little patch. I planted some tulips and some daffodils in here. That's exciting. See, like here's an example. Some scilla that were planted. They just dug them up where they decayed. A couple I stuck back in the dirt, but it is what it is in a wildlife garden, I guess. Okay. Oof, don't want to look at the pond, but I know there's a couple of frogs sleeping in there for the winter under all that debris. It's just stale water right now. But they're in there. Even that has signs of life. Pretty amazing. Okay, take a look at this. Tulips coming up. Little tiny signs of life. So this was my Rubus lanceolatus black swan blackberry, or black satin blackberry, which is a thornless blackberry. But I can see, it looks like signs of life. I mean, maybe I'll get berries off of that this year, who knows? Now this is probably the coldest, because it's the shadiest and the dampest areas of my garden this time of year. So we just have the rhododendron hanging out, still dormant. Not a lot going on over here. And this is my Tangutica clematis, another type 3 clematis that blooms in the fall. Still has those pretty seed heads attached, those little fluffy seed heads. Little poofs, little poofs. So again, I won't take this down till probably middle or end of April, because there are beneficial bugs here still wintering. So I wait to take that down. Not a whole lot to see over here. Of course, the hibiscus is one of the last things to wake up. It takes quite some time, but I leave all those leaves in place to help it out. I might as well pick up this tag. That was an annual. It's not coming back. But it was nice when it was there. Any green, little pieces of green, little green for my lobelia. I like it in here, nice and damp. Let's see what's up the hill. Now half of this little strip gets sun and half is in shade. So my rose hanging out. This takes a while to wake up, to be dormant too. The seven sun flower, a shrub, which I was hoping to prune into tree form. But you know, I just want to keep it growing. I never know this, with this proximity to all the walnut trees in the backyard of my neighbor here, if anything's ever really going to grow. You never know. This is another hibiscus, which again is always going to be late to wake up. And I don't see anything else in here that's awake. My alchemist rose still has signs of life, still green. Everything else is pretty dormant. Wait a minute, what's this? Something? I have to look at that, get up a little bit. Remember, I planted some iris in here. There's still some hostas in here. I don't see a whole lot of, I don't see anything here yet. It's still really cold. Soil is anyway. And these are the poppies that I planted. Can you see the blue? That's it for now. At least it's early days, early signs of spring. It's something to look forward to. I mean, what's popping up in your garden? I'm here in zone 5B. Maybe you're miles ahead of me by now. Maybe you never even had snow. That would be exciting. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I hope you tune back in again here at Milkweeds and Roses, and we'll track the progress of spring together. See you soon.